It's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen by.
Boyle Sports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming. Extra places and money back all losers offers. And a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boyle Sports, this is betting.
Hi everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to the first Champ.ie podcast of 2023. A couple of our colleagues have gone AWOL. We forgot to tell Mr. Groom that you actually do have to start work again on the 1st of January, no matter what you do New Year's Eve. And as for Mr. Coyle, well, he's gone searching winners. I don't know where he's gone. If anybody sees a man who looks as though he's in a mess and is asleep somewhere in the corner, say hello, will you? It's probably Tommy Coyle. So we are down to 2, but the show must and does go on. And a very happy new year to the founder, the governor, what he's been called a lot of other things as well. Barry Doyle, welcome. Now, let's
have you, Mike.
Before we go through the races, let's just deal with the housekeeping, and we'll deal with the winners a little bit later on. Happy to say we did have people last edition who managed to get the qualifying 2 winners into their 5 casts, and we are giving away a free bet, courtesy of Boyles Sports. We're giving another one away this coming week. And what you've got to do is find the winners of the 5, or try and find the winners of the 5 races, which we will be putting the spotlight on in a moment or two, starting with the 150 at Sandown. And then you've got to obviously like and subscribe if you haven't already. Shame on you if you haven't. You then put your 5 casts down below the video, and away we go. It's as simple as that. So let's get straight stuck into it. We do have a special guest coming up later on as well. It's a mystery to me as well. Barry's in charge of the special guest department this week. So for what you are about to receive, etc. Let's start with Sandown. We've got basically Sandown Saturday and Naas Sunday under the spotlight. The thing to remember about Sandown is it's good to soft in places as we do this, but rain forecast on Saturday morning, and that could soften it considerably. Let's start with the 150. This is the first of the races on ITV, and a field of 7. 2 mile chase, £30,000 in the pot. Field headed by the Welsh Raider The Last Day. Barry, I suppose inevitably at this time of year, you look at Charlie Deutsch and Venetia Williams as probably a starting point with Ferrero Bamboo here.
Yeah, he's my pick for the race, Mike. And just to say, it is a very competitive. We just have 7 runners in here, but it's a fairly competitive class too. I mean, the 3 at the top of the market, you've mentioned Grey Diamond, Carrageen Rock, Ferrero Bamboo, all with obvious claims. Carrageen Rock could be the potential improver in here. He's just a 6-year-old, was a winner over course and distance last time. But I suppose the reason I've come down on Ferrero Bamboo is wasn't he due to go over 2.5 miles at Cheltenham in that abandoned meeting? He was entered to run in that Caspian Caviar Gold Cup. He comes back here. The pace angle is the key bit for me here. There's plenty of pace on, even though there is 7 runners. I have it down that 4 likely to be pretty handy in the race. Whereas Ferrero Bamboo will be happy enough to sit off the pace. He made the running on his last start, and they tried new tactics, but I reckon that was just really a pipe opener. He tends to come alive in January time, and of course he is a course and distance winner as well. He was just beaten 6 lengths in the Grand Annual last season off a mark of 141. He's a pound lower here off a mark of 140. If there is a burn up front, I think I can see this horse staying on the best up that Sandown Hill. And look, he's a very consistent sort as well. I have it down. He's only been out of the places twice in his last 9 runs. And I think a pound lower on ground he's going to love. This is his time of year. I think Ferrero Bamboo could take a bit of whacking here at 100 to 30, Mike. He's my play for the 5 cast. Who did you like?
Well, I went for Carrageen Rock. and as much as anything else, because we know he likes to jump round Sandown. And to me, Sandown is a quite unique challenge, obviously, with those railway fences. He has been an unsafe conveyance. There's a couple of Fs in his form figures, but that win at Sandown, that's why they've come back all the way down from Lucinda's yard in Kinross to Sandown again. And I think, as I said, the fact he's won round Sandown is a big plus in my eyes for that race. But as you say,
in the weights, didn't
pretty
he?
competitive 7-runner contest.
Yeah, he got a fair hike in the weights. He's gone up a total of £9 for his win. That was, of course, at Sandown. There's the three at the top of the market. They're all course and distance winners. So it's going to be fascinating. It's not an absolute massive fancy of mine, but I do think Frero Bamboo could take a bit of stopping here. I suppose the next race we're going to look at, Mike.
Yeah, it's the Tolworth, the 225. This is the year about Tolworth. It's the feature. It's the first Grade 1 of the year in Britain. And of course, we've then got the Grade 1 in Ireland on Sunday. All is 2 big pots. And they're all, I think, members of the Facile Vega Avoidance Society. But this is another pretty difficult race to work out. You've got Authorised Speed 2 from 2, winner at the winner at the track last month. You've also got Tamarus, who is 2 from 2 and highly touted for the Cobden-Nichols combination. And I don't think you could actually rule out. It's a bit of an unknown because normally when you think of the Isle of Evan Williams, you think of Staying Chasers. But they were talking this horse up, this Lastro boy, after he beat Inedit Star last time. That was at Force Lass. But he's not without a chance either. In fact, it's one of those, isn't it, Barry, where if you look at these, right, and you try and go down the elimination route and cross out, that's got no chance, that's got no chance, that's got no chance. There are very few that you can actually say got no chance in.
Yeah, I agree. It's a super little contest. 8 runners. The 2 races are shaping up great. The 2 big novice races this weekend, Grade 1s, we're going to come to the Lawlers and Ace. Let's stick with this. The top 3, I suppose, are the most interesting. Authorised Speed, Tamarus and Arctic Brezel. There was absolutely a pile of money for this Arctic Brezel before he beat Mercury down at Cork. And of course, it was a fairly expensive horse after winning, or after coming second, actually, in a point-to-point. So obviously, I think a lot of that. Ronan Groom has been raving about Arctic Brezel in my ear ever since.
Tamarus turn up to tell us that, is he?
Tamarus, this horse really impressed me at Haydock. So he's obvious chances on deep ground, hit a bit of a flat spot. You just worry a little bit maybe about the form, been let down by Sizing Potsy since. He's dropped well down in the ratings since that. He's been beaten twice, Sizing Potsy. So maybe that was a bit of a false rating, 143. And what has Tamarus really beaten is the question. I absolutely love this Authorised Speed. And my one worry in the race is there going to be definite pace in the race? And I just hope there is, because I think the faster they go, the further this horse is going to win by. Obviously, Arctic Brezel is unexposed. His jumping didn't really impress me last time. Authorised Speed is going to have to improve his jumping, but I think the faster they go, the better he is going to jump. He's 2 from 2 over hurdles. I absolutely love the way he opened up, coming to 2 out at Sandown over course and distance last time. You mentioned the rain. The more rain, the better for him. He was 5th in the champion bumper last season, the first home of the British runners. I think that's going to be a big plus in his favour as well, his experience in bumpers. He was not the finished article last season. He's still far from the finished article. But I think those 5 runs in bumpers are going to suit him. When they quickened up last time, his jumping got better as the race went on. He made an absolute howler at the last. But I just think it's just pure ignorance at the last. And I think in a better quality race, when they're going harder, the faster they go here, my worry would be they would go a crawl and something like this. And, you know, he's over keen. He impressed me at Lingfield. He really impressed me last time. I think he's going to take the world of beating, Mike. It's a favourite for me, 15 to 8. I could see him going off a lot shorter. And just to note about the Nichols Yard as well, I mean, The yard has been absolutely flying all season. It's the first time now they've dipped slightly below 20% in terms of strike rate all season. So just wondering how long he can keep churning out these Saturday winners as the season goes on. I'm with Authorised Speed. Arctic Brazil is going to have to improve, which he can do. Fascinating runner. But I'm all about Authorised Speed. Just to note as well, you mentioned the Evan Williams horse, Mike. Lasteroy, that beat Timoris in a bumper and it's unbeaten. So you're right to say that has an each-way chance. What's your pick?
Well, I also want to mention one other that I think has got an each-way chance. Because I was watching the feed the day it ran, and it ran a Sandown, a horse called Colonel Harry. And Jeremy Snowden's had a good season, having a good season. This link up with Gavin Sheehan is obviously positive. It won at Sandown on the day when racing started on good to soft ground and ended up being abandoned when there was water everywhere back in early November. It's not been seen since. Can see that going well at a big price. But I'd also, as I said, I actually think that the Welsh horse Lastra Boy, you tend to immediately dismiss it because it was Foss Lass, but it's got experience. And these have all won races, so it's not easy at all.
It's not, Mike. Just to note about, you mentioned Lasteroid, that beat in Edith Star in its sole run over hurdles. That was Johnny Burke's horse to follow for the season. So they clearly, the George team obviously hold that horse in high regard.
It looks as though it was, for Foss Lass, it looks to have been an above average race. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to note as well, I do think about Authorised Speed. He will have learned plenty from that last flight at Sandown last time. I think you'd have a lot more respect for them.
Well, now we move from the young guns like Barry to the old fogies like me. But this is an absolute cracker, this Veterans Chase. And one of the most successful series that's been brought in for many years. Sol won it the first time, and it always produces a good field. And this is a maximum field of 18, and they will come up that Sandown Hill. The crowd will love it. Last year's winner, Prime Ventures, in it. Top weight Ramses Detay has been competing at very high level. And you've got the mare Snow Leopardess. You've got Bally Andy for the Twisted Davises. Elegant Escape, interesting. Harry Cobden riding for Joe Tizard. And Venetia Williams is doubly represented, and she's done so well through the years. Sadly, of course, with Hobron de Savo, and also here she's got co-star Sivela and Chambard. Interesting, perhaps, that co-star Sivela is the one that Charlie Deutsch will ride. And then you've got Lily Pinchin, who's done ever so well this year, riding a horse called Saint Xavier for Richard Hobson. So again, there's some decent each way prices around here. Barry, where do you go here? It really is a very, very good race.
It is, and you mentioned last year's form. I think that's the route I've taken into the race, Mike, and I've picked out an 18-1 winner for the Champ.ie listeners, hopefully. Third in the race for the last two seasons.
Not Sir Ivan, surely.
Sir Ivan, I think, is teed up for a big run, Mike, once again. And I was impressed with his return, and I was impressed by his most recent start, given a very tender ride by Larkin Williams over a trip plenty short, 2.5 miles. I think it was at Fontwell. But just looking back to the race last season, he's been third the last two seasons in the race. This is his Gold Cup. He's 11 pounds lower than when finishing third in the race last year. Just to note as well, Prime Venture, you give him a mention, last year's winner. He's back to the same mark as when he won it last season. So there is a bit of a swing at the weights. He's going to handle, the more rain, the better. He's going to handle, deep conditions. It was heavy ground last season. I mentioned Larkin Williams. He takes the ride once again, knows the horse very, very well. And looking at the trainer form coming into the race, Harry Fry's flying. Has he had 6 winners in the last 4 years?
Not Larkin Williams, mate.
Oh, Larkin Merton.
But he's a very good value for £3.
Yeah, 22% strike rate at the moment for Harry Fry. And he's an ultra consistent horse, 18-1. He's only been out of the places 3 times in his last 11 starts. That's going back 3 seasons, Mike. So I'm all aboard this Sir Ivan. And the other one that interests me was Bally Andy. it's hard to believe this horse is 12 years of age. Ballyandy. He's a reasonably lightly raced 12-year-old as well. He's only had 7 starts over fences. He was a beaten favourite last time at Cheltenham over 2.5 miles on good ground. Don't think the conditions are going to bother him either. And looking at his rating, I mean, he's rated as a 12-year-old. He is rated 8 pounds lower over fences than he is over hurdles. Wouldn't be surprised if he ran a cracker at 12-1. I'd say you like the pipe horse, do you?
No. I mean, he's got to wait for a start. And you know, he's a marvelous old servant. That's the great thing about this. You know, you remember Pete the Feet running in this race as a 15-year-old. Some wonderful, great stories. These are all 11, 12, 13. I'm going to chance one here, and again, it's at an each-way price. I quite like this Chirico Vallis, actually, which is the Richie McLernan, Neil Mulholland, and JP McManus each way, only on the basis of they clearly think a lot of the horse. Ran in the Scottish Grand National at back last April because it was a bit of a one-off, the Scottish National last April 22, because it was run before the entry national because of Easter and one thing and another. But if you look through its form, before that at Warwick, third to Eclair Surf in that classic, which is Warwick's big race, which comes up next weekend. But in October 21 at Chepstow, over 3 miles, beat Kitty's Light. And given what that horse went on to achieve, that's decent form. And when I see 14-1, 16-1, and of course there'll be extra places in this, I think it's a very good bet. So Chirico Vallis each way for me.
He was one of the ones on my short list. I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but Chirico Vallis. You mentioned the Chepstow win. He was rated 130. He's come back down to 130 and not nicely weighted. And it was a nice return for him, wasn't it, last time?
Yes, or Weatherby.
Yeah. So,
and I think actually he probably wants more than 3 miles. And so 3 miles around Sandown, fast run race. And that hill at the end, I think he'll be staying on. I think he might be a good each way bet.
What a race it is, Mike.
Yeah. And the crowd at Sandown, they love these veterans. And they'll be, you know, it's a great theatre. If ever there was a right place for a right race, it's this. You know, there was when there was talk about Cheltenham going to 5 days, and one of the things was, well, it's going to need extra races if it goes to 5 days. And somebody suggested the Veterans Final, and I said, no way. So because the theatre that Sandown provides is the perfect backdrop for this race. This is one series where the final is where it should be, Sandown.
What's your prediction for the ground come Saturday afternoon, Veterans Final time?
It'll be soft. I mean, it's soft. There's some good to soft around now. Depends how much rain you get. I would think the good to soft will go.
We won't see heavy we won't see heavy surely in the description.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if they get the top end of what they're forecast. We might see heavy in places. And of course, there's always the hurdle tracks easier than the chase course. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we end up soft heavy in places on the hurdle track. But we will see. Let's move on because time presses and I can't have the producer complaining anymore. We've done 3. We've got the special guest and more to come. But let's go to Ireland on Sunday. And really similar comments that we mentioned about the Tolworth applied to the Lawlers of Naas. Although, of course, it's over further, the Grade 1 contest. And a field of 9 here. Danny Mullins rides Champ.ie and Paul Tannen is on Grange Clare West. That's how Willie Mullins has split his forces. Jack Kennedy on Irish Point and Jordan Gainford on Imagine is how Gordon Elliott has split his forces. What wins this?
I don't know, Mike. I have a horse at a bigger sort of price that I'm interested in playing because we got 9 runners, which is fantastic. And what a race it is. I mean, look, there's so many of these that, you know, so unexposed. I think Grange Clare West, look, he really impressed me at Navan. There's no doubt about it. That I think he does deserve to be favoured, but I think he's a bit skinny at 5-4. I mean, he's a 7-year-old. Looking at the 7-year-old record in this particular race, a stat for you, Mike. Only 2 7-year-olds have won the race in 40 years. That's the length of time that this particular race has been branded the Lawlers an ace. 5-4, I just think it's a small little bit skinny for what he's done on the track. Obviously, he's been a tricky sort of a customer to follow. We've only seen him in his life on the track on 2 occasions, and it was absolutely mighty impressive at Navan on soft ground, over 2.5 miles. I don't think you've any worry with the trip here. He is a solid favourite, but at the prices, I just think he is a little bit skinny. The pick of Paul Town, and obviously as Danny rides Champ.ie. Irish Point, arguably, he has the best form coming into the race with that second place effort and just a second start in Ireland in a Grade 1, obviously over 2 miles. I think soft ground is going to be to his liking. Stepping up and trip is also going to be to his liking. Second to Marine Nationale, I think is quite decent form. Ashra Diamond finished 3rd in the Royal Bond. She's come out and ran a cracker last time as well. That's probably the best form coming into the race. Looking at Gordon's record in the race, he's won the race 4 times in the last 6 years. And a pointer possibly towards maybe an Albert Bartlett, more so from Gordon's perspective. 5-1, I think, is a fair price about Irish Point. But the one I absolutely am fascinated by at a double figure price is Affordable Fury for Noel Meade. He won this with Monksland as a 5-year-old back in 2012. He was running an absolute cracker, I thought, at Navan before coming down. Was it at the last when racing was upsides American Mike? The two of those took each other on quite early. I know Gordon has said that American Mike, he wasn't sure if that was the real American Mike that showed up. But if you look at, say, Don Risen, I mean, he's half the price of Affordable Fury. He's come and picked up the pieces as far as I'm concerned in that race. I would be confident that before the end of the season, the best horse to come out of that race will be Affordable Fury. As I said, he's only a 5-year-old. He impressed me over 2 miles 6 at Galway on deep ground. I'm fascinated they're stepping him back in trip. I think the track will be ideal for him. And given a forward ride here, I think he can run a big race, provided he doesn't get locked in a similar sort of a battle as he did at Navan last time. And speaking to Noel Meade earlier in the season, when I pressed him about this horse, he was quite positive on him. And I'd say I think this horse is a proper Grade 1 horse. And yeah, 16-1 at the moment for Boyle Sports. That for me is each way value, I think. What do you think?
Well, I'm Dawn Rising here. I actually really like the Monksfield. I know what you're saying, but the thing is, you can only beat what's put in front of you. And that horse was a runaway winner of the John Galvin maiden at Listowel. Steps up here. Joseph's horse is in good form. Cousin JJ takes the ride, and he'll do for me. So let's move to the final race of the 5 then. And we complete with the Adair Manor Opportunity Handicap Hurdle. Those of you that perhaps not so used to Irish racing, the opportunity is basically it's for conditional jockeys. And it's got a field of 12 in it. Millen to 1. Connor Smithers for Francis Flood carries top weight here. Henry de Bromhead's got low lie the fields in it. Conor Murphy's got an interesting one for JP, which I'm sure my learned friend will address the court in a moment. And if you look down there are plenty with chances. This isn't the best quality race we've ever seen, but in terms of trying to work the winner out, it's quite tight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I like this particular race. You sometimes get, some unexposed type of horses to come and win this. As you said, it's for 80 to 116 rated horses, so it's not the strongest, but it's always very competitive, Mike. And we have 12 runners for this penultimate race on the Naas card on Sunday. I love the race. The obvious one that people are going to be drawn to, I think, here is Cadaharla. If Arctic Bresl runs a big one in the Tolworth, then obviously the form is franked. It finished 5th when last seen on just his 3rd run. That was down on deep ground down at Cork. He's by Flemings for just the 5-year-old Cadaharla, representing the Murphy stable. It's the obvious one. JP McManus Silks. Aidan Kelly will take £4 off, having his first run in a handicap and been given an opening mark of 109. That's obviously going to be popular. You'd have to think. I was interested in Tony Martin's horse, Detties, who was very eye-catching at Limerick just 2 weeks ago. That one hasn't been declared, but do keep an eye on that one going forward. And my slight worry with that was Tony Martin's stable form. He's 0 winners from 23 runners. But the one I've come down on, and it's not priced up as we're speaking, but I would imagine, given the fact that it was a course winner last season, and it was full value for that win last season, the 4-year-old handicap, is Judicialism, if I've pronounced that correct, Mike, for the Hamilton team. Shane Fitzgerald is booked. He was jocked up pretty early. I reckon this has been the plan for quite some time with this horse. He won, as I said, a 4-year-old handicap last February at Naas over 2 miles on soft ground, off a pound lower on just a 2nd run in a handicap. He's had 3, similar to last season, 3 moderate runs, shall we say, the first half of the season. He's dropped the pound to 111. Shane Fitzgerald rode him to victory at Naas last season in that 4-year-old handicap. And I just think stepping up and trip an extra 3 furlongs here is ideal for this horse. He'll handle the ground, loves the course, obviously. And I think he looks laid out for a big run. That's Judicialism. What do you like?
Well, I'm going to try one here. And yes, I won't deny the jockey booking I see as a positive. But the addition of cheek pieces to number 6, Simply Shabra, interests me, and that's being polite here. And also the booking of Michael O'Sullivan. Anthony McCann trains the horse and was in the mid-division last time at Navan behind Maxim, and we all know what happened. That horse then went and did at Leopardstown. Pulled up the time before at Tipperary. But if you go back to last season, a good second in what looked a decent maiden hurdle at Fairyhouse in December. Jonathan Moore rode off the horse that day. And also going further back, had finished 2nd at Ballinrobe in a maiden. And you've got to step up, but this is not, I don't think, and I don't think it's a strong race.
Yeah, Mike.
Simply Shabra each way might well be a player here.
Yeah, I like that angle, because if you look at the winning distance last time from Maxim, as you said, he finished mid-pack, but Maxim, the winning distance was 26 lengths. So not the winning distance, sorry, the gap between Simply Shabra and Maxim, 26 lengths, but Maxim, accounted for 9 of those between the first and the second. So, and obviously he's come out and bolted up since, and they're talking stairs hurdles. So that's not a bad run, is it, last time?
And the other thing too is with this race, as I said, we haven't seen the complete show. There ain't going to be a short price favourite in there. This has got sort of 7-2, 4-1 the field all over it in my book.
So you're with Simply Shabra, cheap pieces on for the first time. I'm with the course winner, Judicialism. Hopefully we can get a winner out of that, Mike. Time for 5 casts, is it? Or time for a special?
Yeah, well, let's put last week's to bed first and foremost. So we had, 3 winners? Or I say 3 who went into Barry's legendary receptacle, having had their 2 wins last weekend.
Well, one of these weeks, Mike, the 5 cast is going to land, but you need 2 winners.
Remember, if you haven't done it, do it now. Get your 5 casts in. Barry and I'll give you ours, which will also remind you of the races in a moment. But let's draw the winner out.
Yeah, 3 entered the draw with 2 winners or more. So congratulations to from last week, who got 2 winners or more. Sean Johnson, Patrick Hickey, who has the banner crest on his profile. So I presume you're from County Clare, Patrick. Let us know in the comments. And Adam Bramhead, also with 2 winners. And it's time for the Boyle Sports Chalice. Right, bit of transparency here, Mike, so you can see who is coming out of the hat.
And if the name Ronan Groom's on there, it's a big stewards.
Well, he wouldn't pick one winner, let alone two in a 5 cast.
No.
It's Patrick Hickey, if you can see that. Correct? Patrick Hickey is the winner. So the man from County Clare. And actually, just when I was going through that, he picked San Salvador last week, Mike, in that handicap hurdle at Punchestown. So that was a nice winner. And Hermes Allen, I think, was his other. So congratulations. Get the 5 cast down. Get in touch, Patrick, via either Twitter or the Champ.ie email.
San Salvador sorted, but
and we'll get your...
so far down. He was so far down by the time it went in. It was only a drop in the ocean.
Yeah. Get in touch, Patrick. Patrick, get in touch either via Twitter or Champ.ie. So Champ.ie at gmail.com is the email address. And we'll get your Boyles Sports account credited with that free bet. Mike, on you go.
Special guests to come. But now it's time for us to put our 5 casts together. So, Barry, here we go with the 5 casts then. I'll let you go first with each of them. So we start then with Sandown and that 2 mile handicap chase at 150. And you are with?
Ferrero Bamboo for Venetia Williams.
And I'm Carrigan Rock from Scotland. The Tolworth, the 225.
Authorised speed, Mike. Favourite wins it.
And I'm perhaps going mad, and I'm going Colonel Harry each way. Colonel Harry, I just think gets in the money, and he might be 20 to 1. The veterans race, I probably qualify you, don't you, too young, Doyle? But what a terrific race that is. And let's salute the series. It's been a big success. This is another very tough race. And Mr. Doyle, it is won by?
I think 3rd time lucky for Sir Ivan, Mike.
Well, I will go Chirico Vallis for that. And so to Naas, the Lawlers of Naas, the grade 1, you are with?
Sir Ivan each way is in the last there at 18 to 1. I'm going to go each way 16 to 1. Affordale Fury for Noel Mead, Mike.
And I will go Dawn Rising. And to complete the conditional jockeys race, the boys race at Naas, 3:20 on Sunday, also over the same 2 mile and 3 furlong trip. And you're with?
Judicialism.
And I am Simply Shabra.
Fantastic.
So there you are. There are your 5 cast selections from the 2 wise men, or that's what it says here. If anybody sees Ronan Groom, we hope to have you back next time. But if not, well, we'll find somebody else. But more important than that, good luck with everything you do this weekend. And thanks to Barry, who's put this all together, looks after himself. And we will see you 7 days from now when it's going to get really interesting with another really good card at Kempton, plus Warwick's big handicap chase and some good stuff in Ireland as well. Champ.ie returns 7 days now from myself and from Barry. So from the old and the not so old. Bye-bye for now.
Delighted to be joined by Olly Murphy on the Champ.ie podcast once again. Olly, fantastic season so far for you with, of course, 39 winners and over 400k in prize money. You must be happy with the way things are going this season.
Yeah, they've been tipped away grand, so they have been a very stop-start season here over in England. With the frost, we didn't get a lot of rain till late, so numbers-wise, I'm a little bit behind where kind of we usually are, but quality-wise, I think the novices knocking around and we're looking forward to the spring.
Yeah, yes, that's probably a good place to start, Olly, because you mentioned quality and certainly seem to have a bit of quality in that novice hurdle division. Chasing Fire is a horse that's obviously is unbeaten over hurdles. How is he and how good could he be?
Yeah, listen, I don't know how good he could be, to be honest, but he's won 2 ordinary enough races very, very well. He's got a mark of 133. I'd imagine he'll get a Haydock for the Supreme style now in Midland of Jan, and we'll kind of know what he's done.
Is he one that you would be hopeful we could see in graded company in the spring?
Yeah, listen, no doubt. I'd hope he'd be one for those kind of races. He's certainly one of my best novices. So looking forward to stepping up and grade and knowing where we stand.
Speaking about graded company, this weekend, obviously, the featured race, the Tolworth Novices Hurdle, you have Tango entered in there. He is a big price at the moment, but I suppose he's 2 from 3 over hurdles. He looks a smart start as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to go and win the Tolworth, but I cannot for the life of me understand why he's the price he is. He won his bumper on day before me, bolted up in Aintree, then won well in Weatherby under a penalty, and then was second in a supreme trial at Cheltenham on his last start when possibly hitting the front too soon. So yeah, I don't know what else he could have done bar win the last day, and I don't know what price would have been then, but yeah, he's done nothing wrong for me. If he handles the ground, he'll definitely outrun his price, and wouldn't surprise me at all if he finished the first 4.
Yeah, super. Well, speaking of smart novices, Chasing Fire, we've mentioned Tango, strong leader. He's unbeaten, 2 from 2. One at Aintree when we last saw him on good to soft ground. What's the plan with him?
Yeah, he's a horse I am going to keep away from very soft ground, so I'm not sure exactly where he's going to go. He might go up to Musselburgh third down Scottish Supreme Trial, the back end of the month or early Feb, whenever it is, or we could wait and go for Dovecote at Kempton, or if we were to get some more experience, we might run him under a double penalty around a smaller track. But he's a horse with a big engine. His jumping was better the last day than it was at Eugene.
Thunder Rock, Olly. Obviously, we had Adrian Hiskin on the show recently, and obviously this horse went up to a mark of 150 after winning. It's on his second start of the season. Were you disappointed with him at Cheltenham?
He was the best horse in the race by a million miles. He never got into a rhythm. I wouldn't say he didn't handle the track. He just didn't get into a rhythm on the day. He was a hard ride for Adrian, and then came home strong without having an unduly hard time at the same time. So, yeah, he's a horse that's going to go straight to Sandown for the Scilly Isles Grade 1. I wouldn't swap him for anything. I think the pond fence, the winning line will suit him real well in Sandown, and I think he'll run a massive race. He was a shadow of his former self from Uttoxeter and Ascot in Cheltenham, did everything arseways, and I just think if we get the Thunder Rock that turned up in Uttoxeter or Ascot, I think he'll run very, very well in the Scilly Isles in February in Sandown.
Yeah, just in relation to Thunder Rock, just a quick question. Obviously, 2 things that were different, well, than Ascot. Obviously, the undulations at Cheltenham was one, but soft ground as well. Do you think, is he better maybe on slightly better ground, Olly?
Maybe. He won a bumper on very heavy ground, and he's got form on good ground. He's looked very versatile, but I just think the other day he never got in a rhythm. He was ignorant to jump, and he's a horse we have to medicate quite heavily, and it just, timing-wise, didn't really work out for him to get medicated again. He was meant to go to Ascot 2 weeks earlier, so he probably didn't have the most ideal preparation. He's a lot better than that run, albeit he ran very well in the circumstances. And I just think he's a very good horse. And if everything clicked from around Sandown, I think he could come very, very close.
Okay, we're sticking with chasers. Dr. Ken came out, and he obviously won at Aintree. And the form is working out because he finished second to Gold Cup Bailey, who's come up and bolted up since. Where are we likely to see Dr. Ken? He's a horse you like too.
I do, yeah. And he's a bit of a slow burner, flat track and decent ground. I'm going to stay away from very heavy ground and a stiff track. There's actually not a lot for him coming up. He was meant to go to Newbury the other day, and the ground came up very soft, so I took him out. So he might be a horse to be busier in the spring than he will now through the depths of the winter. But if somewhere dried up now in the next couple of weeks, you could see him out again. He needs another run over fences to qualify to run in a decent handicap. So he might have to go somewhere small again to get a bit more experience.
Fingal Bridge, an impressive winner of a bumper over Christmas. I'm sure he's one you're looking forward to over obstacles. And South Carlos. 2 nice horses.
Yeah. 2 nice horses. Fingal Bridge, they run another bumper there in 6 or 8 weeks' time. He came out of Chester well. He's going to be a real nice staying novice for next year. South Carlos, he's for sale. I thought it was a certainty when he ran. The only thing I thought would get him beat is I thought it might have been running him 10 days too soon. My facilities froze up there badly over the bad weather. But yeah, a horse I love now. He's a horse definitely to keep on the right side of, and you'll see him in a new set of silks. I don't know which ones they'll be, but he's for sale, and hopefully he's a horse that's going to go on to bigger and better things.
Finally, Little Miss Dante and Active Authority.
Yeah, Active Authority hadn't shown me a massive amount at home, hence why I went up to Musselburgh, but he pleased me with what he showed me up in Musselburgh. He'll win a bumper in the spring and could be a nice novice hurdler for next year. Little Miss Dante's actually just galloped there now away from home. He's galloped well, still running the mare's bumper in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And yeah, she's a nice filly with a good pedigree and still win a bumper at some point before going out on our holidays.
Finally, Olly, horse to follow for the remainder of the season.
I had a bit of a freak accident with a horse called Go Dante. He slipped up schooling the other day, but if and where he goes now off 128, I always think he's been a horse I've held in high regard. I'd keep on the right side of him in a handicap wherever he's going in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I thought a horse called Clonakilty got a nice mark the other day. Again, another one to keep on the right side of. And I am really, really excited about Thunder Rock. I don't you saw the best of him the other day, and think he could run a massive race with Greg Long.
Olly, super gentleman. I hope to talk to you again soon. And yeah, best of luck for the remainder of the season.
Thanks, Barry.
The final 150 yards. This is a special pair, and it's a Hattons full of grace. And it's Energumen opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile novices. Energumen by.
Boyle Sports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming. Extra places and money back all losers offers. And a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boyle Sports, this is bet